Now you're watching BTVA's Business Nigeria, and I am Tunji Andrews. Boyega, let's start with the fact that the all-share index has been down 0.6% week on week. All-share index was down 1.1% last week. The all-share index closed at 30,011.89 points, basically down about 0.01%. I mean, that is bad in itself. I mean, we've just been seeing this across board for quite a while. But the big issue, I mean, I don't know how to say this. The numbers that are coming and shocking, basically, is Oando's results. Oando has kept us waiting for 10 months to release its full year 2014 results. And we're looking at the fact that the standout number I'm seeing there is a profit, a loss before tax of 171.32 billion naira. I think I have to say that again. 171.32 billion naira. You wait 10 months to tell us that you've lost 171.32 billion naira. Maybe there's something in those numbers that I don't understand. Could you just run us through Oando's numbers?
Okay, Tunji, honestly, I haven't seen this much blood since season 3 of Game of Thrones, The Red Wedding. Honestly, I haven't seen this much blood. Now, the thing is this, right? We're taking a look at the numbers. Revenue was down, just marginally, 5.6%. Operating profit was down, right? Now, where that loss came from, look, the loss was 171 billion. Profit, the loss after tax was a lot bigger than that. They had about a 4.7 billion naira loss in discontinued operations. But the key thing is administrative expenses, 271 billion naira. It was 41 billion naira the previous year. So where did the 200? I'm curious, honestly.
Okay,
I'm
trying to play devil's advocate here. Let me try to be on Oando's side.
Okay.
You do know that Oando has some offshore loans, which possibly could have been hit by, what do you call it, the
depreciation in
devaluation in the naira, and maybe that was what pushed up those numbers. Could it be that?
Honestly, at this point, we need guidance from management. You know, when I saw the numbers, the first thing I did was that's about 230 billion. At an exchange rate of 200
that's
naira.
Almost
That's $1 billion. Yes, currently, that's $1 billion. Now, the question is that the trend within the industry? And I have to start checking what we saw in
Mobile,
what we saw in FO. We're still going to get to those numbers. But the fact is, $230 billion in administrative expenses. Now, I was peaked to the point where I had to start checking what are administrative expenses. And I'm checking and I'm seeing, oh, their salaries, personnel costs, professional, and I saw professional fees and I said, possibly. But as long as management hasn't given us guidance as to what exactly constitutes that, then
well, let's go to mobile now. Mobile's revenue was down 25.35% to 45.3 billion naira. PBT was also down about 33.53%. So basically, it's that commodities issue happening to the oil and gas industry.
We've seen surprisingly across board we've seen revenues drop, with the exception of maybe Oando's, whose half-year revenues grew. Mobile's revenues were down. FO's revenues were down also. And we would have seen declining profitability in both. But however, FO's revenues were obviously augmented by what they classified as other income, which you will believe is income from full year. Is the cost of that transaction inclusive for the full year? There's a lot of clarity that we need at this point.
I'm just a bit worried why it took Oando about 10 months to report those numbers. Anyway, there's a facts behind the figures presentation going on right now at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We will be giving you details of that on Monday because we had to be here. Now, also looking at the H1 numbers, because Oando also released the H1 numbers
today.
Now, also alongside Mobile releases 9 months numbers. So we're going to put them side by side on the video wall now. We're seeing Oando's H1 numbers, revenue up by 8.35%, but still a loss of 8.57 billion. It's just blood with Oando.
Yeah, now guess what? If you check the numbers again, 35 billion administrative expenses. The previous year was 17 billion. right? Now, what I had to do was, okay, you know what? If it's administrative expenses and we're seeing 103 or over 100% growth in admin expenses, what is the trend across other companies? Mobile, 18%. Forte Oil, for 9 months, 45%. So I'm wondering, is it a problem of inefficiency? I don't know, but the management really does need to provide clarity on what constitutes admin expenses. I'm thinking that
possibly if I fix my glasses, probably on the operating the cost, we might be able to see a few luxury hotel rooms. I'm just joking. But
possibly. They have an asset, Wings. At one point, I was thinking, maybe it's Wings. They have an asset along Ozuba and Badiwe that they're building. So I felt, is it Wings? But will Wings be included under, the cost of that asset be included under administrative expenses? I don't know.
It's burdensome because, okay, but looking at across board, you also see that mobile was down 33.53%. Forte Oil was down 12.1%. All H1. Okay, mobile is 9 months. But, I mean, obviously, you're seeing the effects of global crude oil prices affected all these players because all of them significantly have upstream assets.
Sure.
Now, okay, we're seeing Oando, their ConocoPhillips assets. The mobile has been doing that for a while. Forte has marginal
well, you know, the thing is this, Tunji, what a lot of them will tell you is, with the exception of Forte Oil, really, they will tell you that because what you're analyzing are downstream companies, so your revenue is not specifically based on crude oil prices. Yes, it does play a fact. It does play, it's a key factor, yes. Yeah. But the basic thing you're looking at is volumes in petrol stations. How much am I selling to my customers? Are there any hitches? Do we have issues regarding payments, subsidy reimbursements that weren't paid? And how quickly can I deliver my product to my fuel stations? That's what we're basically looking at. So we're not looking for Forte and Oando. We're not specifically looking at the upstream assets. But Forte has Geregu.
I want to ask you something around ethics.
Yeah.
If you were Wale Tinubu, would you have kept your numbers for 10 months only to release?
Well, you see, the thing is this, right?
Loss.
The first thing I would say is this, right? He has a responsibility to shareholders, and he is acutely aware of that responsibility. But the truth also is we do not know why. They haven't given us explanations as to why there was a delay for such a long period. And what I would have honestly
Doesn't that actually go against the NSE rules?
Well, what the NSE rules will tell you is you have 90 days after the end of the financial year. Yeah, you have 90 days. But even the 90 days, what you tend to see is 90 days is from December 31st is March 31st. But you tend to see a lot of results being released in April. The ones who comply, release in April. Oando is not the only one. Kono releases every year in August.
Thank you very much, Gwega, for those insights, analysis, and we'll continue to follow those numbers for you. Of course, as we do, we'll continue to track those numbers as they roll in. It's earnings season. Gwega, BTVA's head of research, will continue to give you those insights, analysis. That's all we can take on the show for today and, of course, the week. We are BTVA, and what we do is premium financial and business news analysis. Thanks for watching Business Nigeria. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at BTVA Newsroom or share your thoughts by hashtagging Business Nigeria. You can also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Tunji Andrews. Join us again on Monday for premium business coverage like never before. Till then, stay safe.